What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Fleet Repeat Back. Got my man CWO4 retired Donnie Townsend, as well as a special guest today, LSC retired Brown. What's going on, JB?
How you doing today, beekeeper? How's everything?
I'm good, man. You know, a lot of people don't know that I get called Beekeeper, man. So,
What
Why
what
you-
what is that? What's Beekeeper about?
oh man, go ahead, JB.
Well, because when he first started working for me, and I was a departmental LPO, and I said, "Well, what's this guy's name?" He was like Honeyman, and I said, "Honeyman, like as in beekeeper?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I mean, we kind of said, "Well, that's going to be your name from this point on." So it's been it.
Exactly what happened. So, JB, what's going on, man?
How you been, man?
Real quick, if you could, just kind of, list when you retired. If you want to list your commands, what you kind of did in the Navy, how long you was in, everything, man.
Oh man, I did 21 years. Retired as a logistics specialist. Started out as a storekeeper. First command was ACB-1 in Coronado, California. Second command was SEMA San Diego. Third command was pre-commissioning unit, USS Oscar Austin. Next command was USS George Washington. Next command after that was logistics support unit, supporting the SEAL teams. Then on board the USS Carter Hall, and I closed it out at Spade War, Atlantic, in 2013. So I
Perfect.
went from being a storekeeper to a logistics specialist.
Perfect. And JB, I know I do it all the time, but I gotta give you your flowers, man. You're one of the guys that kind of, as me and Donnie talked last week on the last episode. My career was a lot different than most people's. I was more of the I was okay with where I was at, and you would always get on me, and why you not a first class yet? Why you not doing this? Well, how you gonna do that? And so I just want to give you your flowers because without your guidance, I wouldn't have made it to where I ended up making it to, and even being successful outside of the Navy. I know we chop it up a lot and talk business and everything. So big ups to you, man. Definitely appreciate everything
No problem.
that you've done for me. So first day, you guys have met each other. We kind of recorded a little bit earlier. We won't get back too much into it, but just meeting each other. I kind of have questions. JB, you've been out. You said you got out 2013, so you've been out
That's
for
right.
some years now.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Donnie just got out. Well, I got out last year. Donnie, you got out
August.
August of last year, right? Yeah. So we're kind of fresh to this, man, and
Fresh out, man.
And,
All right.
and, and JB, just from your experience being out a little bit longer than us, man, and we'll just kind of touch on it real quick. Why do some sailors struggle with the like civilian lifestyle?
I think me personally, I think when people get out the military, they have a closed mind to it. So once you get out the military, the first thing that you should understand is, what did I do in the military? Can you transfer your skills to the civilian world? I.e., if you was in the Navy, you're automatically qualified for two jobs as soon as you get out the Navy. You can be a firefighter because everyone has to be at least qualified up to advanced damage control. And depending on what you did, you also qualified to be a police officer because we all stood gun watches. So now you take the job that you actually did inside the military, and inside that job, you have 20 different jobs. So say, for instance, you was a food service person, a cook. Well, you also was taught how to be a record keeper. You was also taught how to be an inventory manager. Those are other things that you was actually taught how to do. So when you come out the military, you learn how to apply those things. So if you don't utilize the tools that was put in front of you, then only person you can blame then is yourself. Because even if you just did 4 years of active duty or whatever, you still gave yourself an opportunity not just to build a skill set, but you gave yourself an opportunity to go to college on the military time. That's just my personal opinion. And that's what I've seen from a lot of people that come out the military that can adjust to being on the civilian side is because their application was lackluster.
I think another thing too is the discipline that we learn in the military, whether it was applied or not all the time. When you get to the military or to the civilian side of things, at least for me, in the job that I'm in now, it just kind of seemed like I was able to discipline myself quicker. And You know, we always talk about in the military is like hurry up and wait, and I still have like that hurry up and wait mentality. Even when me and Donnie started this podcast, you know, I had all these things ready for him, and he was like, "Dang man, you really on it?" And I was just like, "Man, I just want to get all the heavy lifting out of the way. That way we can just start banging it out, banging it out, banging it out, putting out the content and everything." So I think that's a big thing that sets a lot of veterans apart from like civilians. They don't have that hurry up and wait mentality. So what you got for that, Donnie?
I there was a few things for me with that first transition, especially like as a retiree. The first thing was navigating just being retired. Like, so, I left Kings Bay. I'm busy. My phone blowing up. I'm calling my chiefs. I'm coordinating with everybody. I got all this action. And you complain about the action, da 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 da. But then it was like I went on terminal leave and everything got quiet.
Mhm.
My phone slowly stopped ringing. Having that sense of purpose slowly started to dilute, and then I started searching for, because now I'm just Donnie. I ain't Chief Warrant Officer no more. I'm just Donnie. So now it's like I go into the neighborhood in the morning. Guess what? Everybody's at work. You go to the grocery store. Everybody's at work. Most of the people, you start seeing the crowds and stuff coming back around 2, 3 o'clock. So then it was like, man, how do I adapt with my time? Like, what do I do? And then it was like, now navigating to find a job, not just to make money, but finding something that actually fits who you are. Because now, who I was before back in the day, I could have just took any job that was paying good. They paying good. But now, because I'm so locked in with systems, I like systems. I like structure. I like stuff to be on time. I got a certain grooming, and this grooming don't fit everywhere. You even find yourself getting agitated working in certain places where they don't have good systems and structure. And I see how they say, well, a lot of vets have a hard time working with civilians. It's because sometimes you see how they do business and you be like, man, you be turned off real fast. And it's like, man, this is unprofessional. Like, this is disorganized. This is, and you have a lot of criticism because you've seen even what you think the worst thing in the military is still far more systematically structured than on a civilian side. And you can set your expectations up. With the civilians, I went and worked a job for about 2 weeks, man. And I was asking the guy specific questions and he couldn't answer them. And he was the guy in charge. And it was confusing. It was like, well, there's the guy in charge. And I'm saying, well, how did y'all put these spreadsheets together? And, what system do y'all download this information? And I'm asking the supervisor questions and he's almost looking at me like, why are you asking all these questions? Just do the mindless work. And it's like,
That's right.
like, no, I can't operate like that because my mind is looking for gaps, better ways, proficiency, efficiency. My mind is searching for that. So I can't just work anywhere. So I'm still in that adapting phase because as a military person, you don't always feel like you fit. So it's like finding a fit is a lot harder than what people think. So I think maybe 24 to 36 months out, a person needs to think about what that looks like, what being a civilian looks like. And a lot of us are kind of going, you can go to TAPS and all of this, and TAPS is like trying to drink, through a water hose that the fire department uses. It's like trying to drink through that fire hose, and it's so much information coming out that you don't really got a chance to dissect all of these things and compartmentalize. It's like, hey, this is coming, this is coming, this is coming. Get your resume, get this, and and it's like, whoa, 1 week and boom. And they tell you go to TAPS a couple times. Yeah, you might have to go 3 or 4 times before you're able to really spell out a good plan, a transition plan. And I think if you're a senior, if you're a khaki and up, you probably can navigate that a lot better on your own than you could if you was like a junior sailor getting out and not having that sense of navigating. Because we know how to move around and get stuff popping and, make calls and ask questions and look up information. We're very good at navigating. Some of these junior guys need somebody to kind of coach them along and kind of say, hey, go down there and go see this person. And
Donnie,
kind of prepare.
I don't want to interrupt you, but that's what I was about to say is when I got ready to retire, I had 5 life coaches that I worked with. All of them was retired logistic chiefs, senior chiefs, master chiefs, and each one of them, I used something, and they all knew each other. So even down to how to do a job interview, even down to what to wear at the job interview, all the way down to how to set up my taxes. I had everything set in place before I retired because I wasn't forced to retire. I retired on my own. So I think a lot of younger people, when they get out the military, they don't look for the life coach. And sometimes the life coach is not going to tell it to you the easy way. So being prior military, we are always taught to be trained, spoon-fed almost. And we are also taught to work to replace your supervisor. Well, out here in the civilian world, it's more of get what you can get, how you can get it, when you can get it, where you can get it. But I believe each person should try to have at least 2 to 3 life coaches to take them in that direction. And that way, if you have it, you can always call them back up on the phone like, hey, man, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What should I do? Because it's very difficult doing 20 plus years in the military. The world has changed since the last time you was a civilian. And a lot of people come in at 17, 18. I came in at 17. I retired. I was 38. The civilian world was completely different when I left. But I took these same life coaches that I had already been working with for the previous 3 years, and I had already known them throughout my career. So the trust factor was already there. So when you have a person that's getting out of the military that doesn't have a life coach, they're just out here trying to dwindle it out by themselves. That's where the problems start. That's when the uncomfortability starts. Luckily for me, I worked with a lot of civilians prior to getting out. So my life coaches was already retired chiefs that's doing their civilian job. So I'm already knowing how to move. But when you have a person that don't stay in the military area, they get out, let's say you was in the Norfolk area, you get out and you go back to where you're from, all of a sudden, those people don't have a thought process of how military personnel work. So like if you get out the military in Hampton Roads area and you stay in Hampton Roads, someone is going to know you from someone else. So you kind of build it to help yourself out. So that's why I thought what you were saying that about having a coach, I think that's the right way to go.
Yeah, and that's the thing about, like you said, he said something really important there that I want to touch on was a lot of people be more prone to go back home because they feel like my support system is there. Like, oh, if I'm from this place. But what I realized being, I'm in Kings Bay, but we're really close to Jacksonville. There's such this strong veterans group in Jacksonville. I'm talking about it's phenomenal. You can't go to one of the cigar lounges. You can't go to none of the restaurants out there without seeing some veterans some faces that you recognize. And the minute that you tell any of them what you got going on, like, hey, I just got out the Navy, and man, they got so much information about these veteran programs, and make sure you do this. And matter of fact, you don't even have to ask them for the information. The minute you tell them what you got going on, them veterans is looking out for veterans. Hey, man, take my number. Make sure you do this. Call this person. Go down there and do this. If you need help finding a job, they be on it, man. But that's if you're in a concentrated area like he was highlighting, like Norfolk or Jacksonville. So I would say, unless you got a surefire setup at your home state, don't just be stuck of going right back where you came from. Go where you can be productive and you can produce. And that's pretty much wherever you got a network at. If you got a network somewhere, but you feel like, oh, my hometown is Chicago or my hometown is, man, go where your network and where you got actual, not just family. Because people think that family really will look out for you, but a lot of people get out the military and try to go back home, and the family is like, they already got a lot on their plate, so they can't take your problems on and try to help you navigate. But them veterans, listen, man, them veterans are phenomenal. It's almost like still being in the military. We just got beards.
And I was about to say, I was Before I got out, we would go sit in the sauna every day. And I would talk to the veterans that was in the sauna every
Mhm.
day. So when I got out the military, some of my buddies and I, we got out at the same time. We became part of that group that's going back, talking to the younger sailors, influencing them while they're still active duty, those that's getting out. So that's what I'm saying is like, I always say you left home for a reason. There's a very reason you left home. So
Bingo.
if you left home for a reason, the structure that you picked up while you was active duty, your family did not pick that up. Your family did not pick up that structure. That family does not pick up understanding just how to fold your clothes up, where you might not have enough clothes to fit in that drawer. Well, we was in the Navy. We could make all them clothes fit in that drawer plus some.
Yeah.
So that structure is different, but it's good to be around like-minded personnel. So to me, that's why I never thought about leaving the Hampton Roads area, because I felt like I'm around like-minded personnel. So because Hampton Roads has at least 80% of the personnel that lives here is either military or military affiliated.
Yes.
So to me, in my mind, I'm sitting here thinking, why would I go to a place that only has 15% or 10% military affiliated, and I'm military personnel? So I look at it from that standpoint. So
Yeah.
all right.
And just to touch on it real quick, I think my idea, and it's probably because I wasn't in them chief's mess or wardrooms, because I came back home, as you guys both know. I came back home, but I will say this: the only reason why I think it's a little bit different for me, and I can kind of relate to what you guys are saying, is my father was prior Navy. So when I got home, he didn't really dictate what I was doing, but he was like, "Hey, you need to go do this," or look out for this, or "Hey, go talk to this person." So me coming back home is actually, I'm not going to say it's an easy transition back, because obviously I'm not hanging around the same people I used to when I was younger and stuff like that. But it's just at a point where it's like, number one, the cost of living is beneficial for me and my family. You know what I'm saying? I was able to use the veterans benefits to get this beautiful house that we stay in, and I don't have to pay the property tax, and going in on the benefits that you guys was talking about. But also another thing, and I want to ask you both of you this: when you guys were transitioning out, did you go straight back into another job? Did you take time off before you started doing stuff again? Because obviously, like, you know, I was out medically. You guys retired, so your guys' pay scale is a lot different than what mine is, right? And when I got out April 14th last year. April 18th, I was already down in Dallas Fort Worth, Texas, starting my new job. So I want to ask, what was the transition like for you guys? And did you take time for yourself? Did you get right back into the workforce? What was that transition period like for you guys?
Well, for me, it was pretty easy. I took off for probably about, I didn't look for a job for at least a month and a half or 2 months.
And real quick, not to cut you off, JB, I want to ask you this too. You were doing the barbecue sauce
Right.
business prior to, correct?
Right. I had already started catering. I had already started
Okay.
cooking. So I went straight into my own business. So that was kind of like, that was my thing. And the only reason I took the job that I took was because they said, well, you're not going to be a supervisor and you're allowed to do your catering. So I requested a job to not be a supervisor. But I've only had one job since I got out the military. I've only had one job. Now the job, I done went from being a contractor to a government worker, but I was going back to another base. So now I work for the Coast Guard. So since I started working for the Coast Guard, it was kind of like I'm out of the military, but I'm not out of the military because I'm still able to utilize the same structure, the same exact structure. But I was very strategic on which job to choose because I didn't want to go back into a supervisor position, but I did not want to be supervised also. So I kind of worked the magic on that for me. But a lot of people, that's what they find difficult because people will say it all the time. Well, man, when I become a civilian, I can just quit if I don't like a job. Well, you want a paycheck. You still need to have that paycheck, but you never want to be at a place where you're not comfortable or be at a place where it doesn't inspire you to do more. So when I started looking into that, it wasn't the fact that I wanted to get back into the workforce. it was more along the lines of saying, well, I only know how to do logistics. And I mean, don't get me confused. I only know how to do logistics. The good thing about logistics is it has 33 different avenues. So if you know all 33 of them, it became real easy to go back into the workforce. But when I look at certain people and I say, well, because everyone doesn't know how to write a resume, everyone doesn't know how to do certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of get out, and that's why I say, well, that's where that life coach come in at, because that life coach also can prepare you for, hey man, this is going to be your shortfalls. This is going to be this. This is going to be that. So you're not coming out here blind. And so that's how I look at everything. So some people could come out and say, man, I'm not going to work for 5 years. And I know some people that come out and say, I'm not going to work, period.
Period. Yeah.
I know people that's like, they be like, I'm not going to work. Or they be like, well, I'm going to try to work. Then when they go to work, they just be like, man, I'm not even inspired to go to work. You know, because they've done so much time. So I look at it like each person, the ball is different for each person, how it's going to bounce. So it has to be within the mindset of each person, how they want things to go, how they want the structure to be, their family dynamics, everything else like that. To me, that's how I see it. What you think?
Well, and I think a big lesson that you was talking about life coaches and everything earlier. Obviously, you were one of the biggest life coaches in my short 16-year career. And one thing you always said, and I've never forgotten it, might have steered away from it a couple times, but you always knocked me back on track with it. Don't leave any bread left on the table.
Leave no bread on that table, man. Don't leave any of that money on the table. Yeah. There's a lot out there. You just don't know it. There's a lot out there. And see, and that's another thing, like when you're young, you have this energy. So the energy that you have when you're young, it allows you to go out and do multiple things. You can actually be an entrepreneur and have a job at the same time. So for me, it was kind of like, okay, I'm running my own business, but I'm also working for the government at the same time. And I'm a retiree at the same time. So my energy was always constructed under that. Then what I would do is kind of like the competitive thing. We always in the military. So, you saw a guy make E5 and you was an E4 with him. You trying to catch him to make E5, or you want to make E6 or E7 with someone. I was starting to look at guys that was in the same field as I was. And I'm like, well, okay, this guy's doing this. I'm not trying to knock his hustle. I just want to go do the same thing he's doing or more. So I kind of found, and that's self-motivation too. So that's something that you look at that I feel like, when you have these life coaches, when you have yourself prepared to get out the military, what is your motivational factors? What's driving you to be your best? I think that's what makes people better when they get out, if they get out and have a plan. Because you got to have a plan. But was it like that for you, Donnie?
Well, when I got out initially, I just said mentally I needed to take a break, right? I did a lot of back-to-back sea duty and stuff like that, and been hot and heavy for years. So my whole thing was, I initially told myself I'm gonna take a whole year off and then I'm gonna go back to work. That way I can take a year and put some concentration on my health, because I was dealing with stuff like high blood pressure, sleep apnea. I was dealing with all of these different issues that I had accumulated over the years. And every time there's a medical appointment, there's an inspection. So it's like you're not going to medical because, something else is coming up. And when you the go-to guy, it's hard to break away and take care of yourself, and that's another whole, conversation within itself. But I really felt like, okay, I get a chance to take a breather. And I ended up having, when I was first getting out, is turning down 2 jobs because, I'm asking them like, I got a vacation planned and everything. Like, well, when do y'all need me to start? And both of them was like, well, right now, and both of these jobs was talking about, $100K or better. So it was like, when you looking at that money and it's like, oh man, these jobs is throwing some nice checks just to get me in the door. And it was like, well, am I going to violate what I told myself? And I really had to be, put my foot down and say my health is more important than that money. And reminding myself that If I'm that person that didn't work so hard that I had a heart attack, on the job, then I'm no good to my family or nobody else. So prioritizing my health, I had to push a lot of that stuff back across the table and just say, well, I'm gonna wait and be patient and trust God and just, I'm gonna take my time, because whatever is for you out there, it's gonna come to you. It's right. Like JB said, he found something right off. Like you said, your father had you plugged in. Whatever is out there for you, you don't have to be desperate. And I think it's almost like the same model when you go out there and you're getting ready to feed the birds. You don't have to chase the birds with the bread. If you got the bread, you sit down, you sprinkle the crumbs around you, the birds will come get the bread, man. So I think sometimes we have to just relax, center ourselves, and then refocus. So my whole thing was getting back in school. So I started back working on my education, because that was something I never finished during my career either. Because like I said, it was always another inspection. It was always something else hot and heavy. Oh, Toon got a DUI. Mike got this going. This person, jumping on their old lady. And it was always so many fires to put out in food service, especially in supply department, that it was like, it wasn't a lot of breathing room to take care of stuff for myself.
And I kind of look at it too with what you just said was, so that takes a lot of discipline to turn down the money. And I know a lot of guys get out, went straight to Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Bahrain. They're working overseas, and they was killing it, making 180, 190,000 a year. And I'm like, but you're not enjoying your life.
Bingo.
Right? So I kind of, like, the first thing I did was, when I got out, I said, man, I'm going to go to Vegas every year for my birthday. So I probably did that for like 7 or 8 years straight. And
oh, wow. Yeah.
Every year for my birthday. But the thing is, I kind of had the discipline. So I actually, part of what made me retire was, once I received my bachelor's degree, I said, well, I don't really need to stay in anymore, because I figured I wanted to go to college on Uncle Sam's time and not on my time. So I was always looking at an angle to hustle the system. That's probably what I was doing, more or less. I mean, I could be honest about it now. I was always looking for that angle to beat the system. So when I actually added it up, I was like, well, I just did 21 years Navy time, 7 years sea time. That's actually all I did, was 7 years of sea time. 11 years on the books, 7 years physical out to sea, out of 21 years. So I actually had a full game plan about retiring, how to retire, when to retire, how to get a civilian job, everything. So I was already looking down the road. And I actually think part of what's happening now to not just the young people active duty, but young people in general, that's where you need to have a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan and a 15-year plan, because those are the things that we teach in leadership in the Navy. That if you got that 5-year plan, I'm asking you, where do you want to be at in 2031? So next year, when 2027 come around, where you want to be at in 2032? How do you plan on getting there? What is your 10-year plan? So when you don't have a plan, you're just doing things for no apparent reason. Always have your plan. And then if you have a plan, you will take people out of your life that's going to obstruct you from trying to get to your plan. So then that won't allow you to work these jobs that's going to obstruct your health and things like that. So that's how I always viewed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to switch it up a little bit. I know we kind of got big on the getting out, but let's talk about while we were in again. A big thing, and we kind of chopped it up so we can kind of self-pace this one, is last week Donnie had mentioned something about the admirals coming in and carving out a route, and JB, you had touched on a little bit, like, from your perspective, and me kind of hearing the differences, but just going off of that, like, do you guys think triads hide problems a lot when admirals are coming? I know we talked about it a little bit last week, Donnie, but if you just want to touch on kind of what that was. And then I also just real quick want to read what I'm assuming this former sailor on TikTok said, he said, admirals were former COs who did the same thing, and those visits not usually to assess the material conditions of the ship. How do you guys feel about that? And it might be a little bit different for you too, JB. I know you've been out a good minute, so.
Well, listen, it doesn't change.
Yeah.
It's no having an admiral come on board. You know the admiral's coming, right? 9 times out of 10, they telling you that the admiral's coming, unless the admiral doing just a spot. He just pop up and say he's coming on board.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's the difference if you know the CO is coming to your space? If you know your CO is coming to your space, aren't you going to do your best to have that space looking good? It's the same thing, because you have to think about it. The admiral was once a CO. Your CO has once been a department head. That department head was once a divo. So it's the same scenario.
Well, isn't that why we have like division in the spotlight and stuff like that? Like the disrespect?
Now let me throw something else at you though. You clean your room when you was a kid, when you knew your parents was going to walk into your room. You did the same thing. So we've always done it it's basically putting your best foot forward. So when you have division in the spotlight, you're going to have a personnel inspection. You're going to make sure that the person got their best dressed blues, dressed whites. Everybody got a haircut, clean shave. When it's time to do a PMS spot check that week, you're going to make sure your best person that knows how to do works in a suit is going to do that PMS check, spot check. And you're going to make sure that that spot check is going to be done correctly. That's just the name of the game. That's the pomp and circumstances. Everyone has played that game. That's the game we all play.
I operated, I kind of kept the pressure up. You know, the people that work with me can kind of tell you, man, that over the years, I kept that pressure up. If I walk past that galley
Mm-hmm.
and it don't look clean, I'm raising hell. If I walk past the mess decks and them tables look crazy, I'm raising hell, right? My whole thing was, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So I'm always training. I'm always asking people questions. I was always making sure them spaces was clean, because they were supposed, I didn't care, and people would come knock on my door, right? And be like, XO is in the galley. And I'd be like, okay, he want me? Yeah. And you know why I can say, oh, he want me? And they be like, well, nah, he just in there talking to the sailors. And I'd be like, well, okay. I'm not in no panic, because I'm running good real estate.
That's right.
And because I always kept that mentality of, I'm doing business the right way regardless, so I'm not trying to hide nothing. If somebody come on board at any given time on some surprise, and it would be times they'd be like, oh, the CO, he down there in the cargo storeroom. And I'd be like, okay, my storerooms look good.
But that means that in order for that to happen, that means you had already been walking your spaces.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I get there 4:35 a.m. and they know by the time they see me coming up that P-way, they know what type of time I'm on.
That's right.
And I'm not calming down.
That's what I'm about to say.
I'm not calming down until all the problems that I found that morning are already rectified. I go to I do the same routine.
Right.
Go ahead.
So if you're already prepared that it's not going to be a problem.
It's not going to be a problem.
Right. And that's what I'm about to say. Like, I will always tell this to people myself, like, it's two different JBs. If you knew me from the sea duty side, you know me versus for the shore duty side. The shore duty guy, I'm probably your biggest dirtbag. I'm trying to get off of work just like everyone else. I'm trying to leave also. Let's do what we got to do so we can go. But if I'm on you on that sea duty side, then that's a different person, because you don't see him smile. You don't see him coking and joking. He's the one that's about that business. Same way you're saying, I got to be here at 5:30 or 6 o'clock. We're going to be on top of everything at all times. No one is going to be out of place. So if I'm not here, and it's going to be someone else who knows how to speak in case I'm not here, we're going to all cross train. Everyone is going to be prepared to take care of this business. I think what you're saying is 100% correct, because that's the same way I would have ran. I ran my ship too, the same way, no problem.
I think even on shore, I think the less work I've ever done was at Mid-Atlantic region, and I was able to sit back because I had 2 back to back too. I had two really, really good Master Chiefs, man. I had Master Chief Strickland, and I had Jewel Dyson. And I can tell you, both of those Master Chiefs, man, wouldn't hardly let me do nothing, man. I'm talking about the minute I try to stick my hand in something, they won't want. Hey, hey, got it. We are, so it was like on shore duty, yeah, you're 100% right, man. It was almost like I did not, them khakis, I was blessed over there too. Them khakis I had over there, man, I'm talking about they had that thing like tied down tight. Like I say, shout out to Master Chief Strickland and Master Chief Jewel Dyson. Both of them.
What was Strickland's first name?
Dwayne. Strick, what they call him.
Well, I knew Dale Strickland. I was thinking it was somebody else. Thinking Dale was LS though, not a CS.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Both of them well known. Master Chief Dyson, she was on the Forge. Strick was on, multiple commands with us, but we had all crossed paths because we was all like really. In supply, you either got East Coast, and this is how it was back in the day. It's probably different now, but you had East Coast people and you had West Coast people. My whole entire career, right? A lot of people don't know that about me. I never left Naval Station Norfolk. I never even, matter of fact, I did one tour. I'm mistaken. Hold on. I went to Ohio for recruiting duty for 2 years. But the entire rest of my career, out of 25 years, 23 was on Naval Station Norfolk base. I never left that one base. I never was on Oceana, Little Creek. I literally was on Naval Station. So I literally knew everybody. Like, I'm talking about when I say I was locked in and I had my arms wrapped around a lot of people and I could get stuff clicking real quick. And you couldn't go too many places in Norfolk and people didn't know me. Whether they like me, love me, or hate me, they knew who I was.
Well, and let me ask this too, JB, because I obviously know that you were in Cali starting off.
And I'm a West Coast sailor.
We had conversations prior to, and I'll never forget, man. I'm the man that listens to all the quotes and everything that you guys said. I got the Reverend up here, got my man JB in the bottom, so they be quoting it up for me. That's how I remember shit, because it's like a song in my head all the time. Y'all know I do the music. But I remember you said, because I was talking about going to San Diego, and you were like, honey, beekeeper.
You ain't ready for that now.
If you go to San Diego, you ain't going to make it.
You ain't going to make it.
You ain't going to make it. So what was the difference for you, San Diego to Virginia side?
The left coast is different. So the left coast is more like being a civilian. Like, no matter what, though you're in the military, because on the left coast, you don't have winter, spring, summer, fall. It's just 80 degrees year round. So now you're looking at sunshine, liberty all the time. Your dedication has to be to the military or you will falter fast, because we're not talking about Hampton Roads. I need you to understand how big California is. California is basically from Kings Bay, Georgia, to New York City. That's California, period. That's how big it is. And it's going to extend out to close to Alabama, all the way up. And San Diego is right above Tijuana, which also puts you at about 2.5 to 3 hours away from Yuma, Arizona. You can also just go north to Long Beach or Los Angeles. So I'm just trying to say to you, it's so many distractions out there. Woo! Because I want you to hear what I'm saying.
Hey, he giving you the gospel, man, because that was one of the things I got warned about. They said if you trying to A school, they said if you trying to have a career, go to Norfolk. Because me and the other guy that was number one in the class, Will Cox. Me and Will Cox was number one in our class. In that last test, I got a 99. Will Cox got 100. So how they did the orders back in the day is you were able to pick the orders based off of which order you came out with the top of the class. And they had Hawaii up there, and they had Cali, and then they had 3 for Norfolk. And I remember the class instructor saying, if you want to have a good time, go to Cali.
Go to Cali.
If you planning on having a carear, go to Norfolk. I was like, well, I'm going to Norfolk.
And that's how I started. So I came in at E3 in 1992. That's 92. By the time I left in 1999, I was just an E4. Now I picked up.
I can't laugh because I know the feeling.
So when I picked up.
Hold on. Say that timeline again. Wait.
So from 92 coming in as an E3.
In 92.
I left in 99. I was an E4.
Oh, sheets.
So,
but you had a good time though.
I had a ball. But I made second upon arrival. So when I got here, the results was here. I had made second class. So it was kind of like a guy I had been stationed with in 99. I saw him at Little Creek Base in 04. And when he saw me, he said, man, how are you a first class? I just saw you a couple of years back. And I had to explain to him, I said, well, man, I picked up second upon arrival and I made first real quick. So the difference too is, and I mean, this is not a race-based thing, but being on the West Coast, I didn't see a lot of black chiefs.
No.
Hold on, I didn't see a lot of black chiefs, period. Being on the West Coast, and also I come in, you still had Long Beach was open. You had Alameda was open. You had Fowler, Nevada was open. We had another Naval Air Station that was open in San Diego also. And you had Bremerton. So you had a lot of places you can go to on the West Coast. I didn't see a lot of white chiefs, but I saw a lot of Filipino chiefs. And I saw how they did their business. And so how they did their business was, if you was in a certain rate, they didn't matter if you was a first class, you knew each other or not. They just come grab you and take you and train you. But what made me get motivated when I got to Norfolk, I didn't ever see that many black chiefs in my life. I had never seen that many white chiefs. And so now I go to seeing black and white in the Navy, race-wise. Because on the left coast, you don't see that. So now it's kind of like you get distracted with everything over there. From the partying to the women to the just, non-military bearing. It's overbearing. You could just do whatever you want. But the structure was different. So when I came to the East Coast and I saw people that looked like me, that was a warrant officer, that was a Lieutenant JG. Now that became my motivating factor. That's telling me, man, I can actually do this. Because like I said, I was an E3 for probably a good strong 4 years. Strong. I mean, I don't think you understand how strong of an E3 I was. And I was one of the best E4s you ever seen in your life. But once I got here and I started seeing that we can actually do these things, I started learning the rate, and my distractions wasn't the same. So though I can go to DC or Charlotte or something like that, those distractions wasn't just in my backyard. And it get cold out here. So the weather changing is different also. So you in San Diego, it's Christmas time and it's 55 or 60 degrees.
You still outside.
You still, that's what the young people say, right?
You still outside.
You still outside. So you outside all the time. So believe me, and then when you outside all the time, you got women at the beach naked all the time. And I'm 22, 23 years old. How am I supposed to handle this? And you want me to go get you want me to go get my CV Combat Warfare pen? Man, I'm not paying that no attention. You're talking about going to classes and all of that stuff. Man, ain't nobody doing none of that. So, but when you come to the East Coast, also, now because if you don't take that chance to get ahead, the next guy will. The next person will take that chance, and they'll take your opportunity that you refuse to take. So it's like, okay, I'm telling a sailor, hey man, just get your East Wasp pen. Well, I was going to sit with Austin. I hear like, well, SK1, I'm getting out. I don't care if you're getting out. You're not out until you get out. I need you to get this East Wasp pen just in case you stay in, right? I need you to go get OD qualified. I need you to do all these things here just in case, because I know on the East Coast, this next guy will do it. The next guy will take the opportunity that you don't take. Well, on the West Coast, everybody's to fail. Everybody over there is a slacker. So
yeah, the East Coast was just, I'm telling you, it was hunters, man.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you, when you here's what's crazy about the East Coast. Somebody could be your closest friend. They go get on the inspection team, and they'll come to your ship and act like they don't know you.
Don't even know you. Don't even know you.
On the West Coast, if you got good relationships over there, them people will help you out, man.
Gonna look out for. I mean, matter of fact, Honeyman, was you on the ship when we docked in San Diego? When we took the. So think about.
Yes. And I also remember you the only person on the whole boat that got 5 days of liberty to be in San Diego.
So think about
not even the CO got off the boat, but JB did.
Think about what you're saying. I'm the only one that we pulling in. We go through the Panama Canal.
Hey, and not only that, I just want to throw this out, not to cut you off, Jay. Not only that, this fool got a car sitting in the parking lot waiting for him. I ain't never seen no shit like this ever in my life.
Big brother looked out for me. I mean, he told me what pier we were taking their spot anyway. He said we told him where he left his keys at. But my point is, we touched down in San Diego. No one else on our ship know anywhere around San Diego. Nobody know where Balboa Hospital is at. No one knows where to go get the parts at. They don't know where the post office at. I know where everything is at over there. So when we get there, of course, I'm going to be the main point of contact. But that's the difference on the East Coast and the West Coast. I didn't need to go to PMO. I didn't need to talk to anybody else. So it's just those kind of different kind of hookups that happens on the West Coast. That's like, it's business, but it's not business. So when you come to the East Coast, it's strictly business.
What?
I mean, my first day on board, when I got to USS Oscar Austin, it was a pre-commissioning stage. I had a scene chief didn't tell me, man, you need to pull your pants up. And I had on dungarees. No, I had on utilities. He was like, man, what's wrong with your pants? And I'm like, nothing wrong with my pants. I didn't realize I was sagging. I didn't realize I was sagging. I mean, I'm a second class. I just put on second. But this is how we walk. This is how we talk. This is how we dress. So it was a complete difference.
They'll be up that pier like ship, mate.
Yeah. It was, and that was another thing. I get to Norfolk. I didn't even have a pea coat. This Thanksgiving time. I never had blues. I didn't wear no blues. I didn't wear a jacket. None of those things out there. So
yeah.
Come over here, you now got to get a full sea bag. You now in the Navy. You got to start talking Navy. I mean, we heard about it, right? But you never performed it like that. Yep. So when I didn't just start out over there. I went to boot camp there. So this is when boot camps was in Orlando, San Diego, and in Great Lakes. So I went to boot camp in San Diego. So I was really not built for this East Coast until I became East Coast. Because once I got here, I knew, well, I'm better than what I left. I can't go back to Birmingham the way I left. I'm better than this. So as I started seeing people that was advancing, it motivated me to advance. But I was over there in a mediocre place in San Diego where I wasn't just the only guy that was mediocre. It was a whole bunch of us that were mediocre, that wasn't trying to strive to make second, make first, because it wasn't put in our heads to do it. But when you come on this East Coast and you seeing a guy, he 2 years deep, he's already E5. I mean, Honeyman, you don't know him, but it's a guy right now that when I came on board the Carter Hall, he was only 5 years in the game. He was already in first class. He's a Master Chief now, been a Master Chief for 14 years. He's still a Master Chief right now. His name is Jermaine Westmoreland. He's an ENC. Yeah. But he was the first class when I got to the Carter Hall, just like I was, but he had only been in the Navy 5 or 6 years. So he was a fast-paced person. That's what you see on the East Coast. So when you come to the East Coast, if you don't get off running, you will get lapped so quick in this race. And you'll be looking at yourself. And that's why I've always tried to stay on you, Honeyman, was because I'm like, I don't want you to get lapped by your peers.
And kind of getting into the advancement thing too, we could bring that up. It was weird for me because I made second class in 3 years, and it was like coming from where I'm from, that that's a different type of money.
Mm-hmm.
That you go back home and you getting $4,000 a check, $8,000 a month. you know, I'm almost living like I'm rich out here. So it was different for me. And you know, you was always on me, but it was I just got real comfortable for a long time. And then obviously, you know, once I think we reconnected in what, like 2015 is when I reached out to you.
That sounds about right.
I think, yeah, I
Sounds
think it
about
was
right.
2015. And you know, once you got on me and you know, learning the stuff that I was going through back then and how to do things, you know, that definitely helped me improve. And then, of course, you know, the biggest part about me, and you know, JB, you always used to tell me like, man, just shut your mouth and just do it. But that's where that was my biggest character flaws. I couldn't shut the fuck up. If
Back
you
in the
said or did something, I was gonna let you know about yourself, and I was probably wrong 90% of the time, but it made me feel better because I got it off my chest. And
Nah.
ironically, that's how you and me met, Donnie. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we thought it was gonna start off on bad terms, but you're just like, hey man, I don't really give a fuck. Just do the job, like, and
Well, I think when you came in there venting, you was expecting a different reaction from me.
I was.
You was expecting me to be like, you know, I'm the leader. I don't mind people speaking their mind because sometimes they could be right.
Well,
So I'm gonna give you the opportunity to see. You can come in there, you can cuss, you can get loud. If you right, you right.
yeah.
I don't care nothing about the emotion. The emotion don't bother me.
Well, and that was the only time I was probably ever.
That.
That was the only time I was ever right in my Navy career too. So let me just throw that out there. But the reason why I came in there like that too, you an intimidating motherfucker if you don't know you. If I seen you walking down the street or you at the club and me and my boys are about to get in the fight, I'm gonna be like, yeah, that's the first motherfucker we gotta hit and he can't be looking. I gotta knock him out smooth so we ain't gotta worry about shit else ever again. You know, so that's why I came in like that. But yeah.
Over there. Like,
what's that?
Oh, that new FSO, he big as hell. Oh, that FSO, man, that's a big ass guy, man.
Yeah.
You know, everybody kept saying that. Even the CEO was like, you're an intimidating guy. And I was like, well, I'm the nicest guy ever, man. All I do is make sure people eat. You know, and he was like, nah, you look like you can hurt somebody. You know.
Well, and that's how it was. That's how it was with JB though, too. JB, you what, like 6'3", 6'4"?
I'm about 6'2", yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
well, 6'3" in boots, right? He's 6'3" in
boots.
Yeah,
yeah. But I'm not a small guy though.
Yeah. So when you and the other thing with JB, because like with you, Donnie, you kind of, and we talked about this on the phone the other day. You kind of kept it yourself. You was in the office. You wasn't in the mix. We're not gonna catch Donnie doing nothing. That motherfucker, no. Yeah, that motherfucker is gonna be squared away. But like somebody like JB,
I'm in the mix.
He was in the mix, so it was like, okay, I gotta respect that off the rip. Because
well, I mean, but you got to remember too, it's like I just explained it. I was no different than you guys, right?
Yeah.
I was in the streets doing everything like you guys was doing. You was coming in. All I was really trying to do when you guys was working for me when we was on the Carter Hall was trying to keep you guys out of the trouble that I had already gotten into.
Yeah.
Because here I am as a first class, myself, and Sticks. We've already been through the nonsense. I don't want you to go through the nonsense. I'm actually going to try to tell you how you can lead the ship on your duty day and don't get caught.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to be that because I know you're going to do it anyway. You're going to lead the ship on your duty day. Let me help you not get caught. Right? I'm the one trying to tell you how to do the things that you want to do and don't get in trouble and still be professional at your job.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you that opportunity and that option. I kind of think that's why a lot of you younger guys gravitated toward me, because even though I was a stickler for the rule, I wasn't a stickler to try to tell you how to live your life. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it.
It was almost like how to beat the system.
Right, how to beat the system.
He gave you that Jay-Z advice. He said Hove did that, so hopefully you ain't got to go through it.
You ain't got to go through it. And I mean, and on top of that, I'm looking at it like I'm at the pay grade that can get you in and out of trouble. I'm to be the person that can protect you, because we did something on the Carter Hall that had never been done before. We did something that was called a MAP, which is a Motivational Assistance Program. They used to call it the E6 DRB. So we had DRBs held only by the first classes. So when the CMC found out about it, he said, well, first classes can't have a DRB.
Right.
So we had to change the name to Motivational Assistance Program.
Yep. You come in that first class mess.
Yeah, you come in that first class mess. You out.
Hey, that's why we got close. I was in there too much.
Right. So
I got a lot of motivation, baby. Fuck with me.
Our command master at arms, who's Donnell Harrison, he would be like the overseer for this MAC. So, okay, you got myself, you had BM1, you had a lot of us first classes that had came in 90, 91, 92. We come in under the old regime. We came in under the regime that things didn't have to get to the chief mess. We can handle it as a first class. It should never get to the XO's level.
Yeah.
So if we said it needs to go that high, then you're already in trouble. So that was our thing was, and that's why I was always like, look, man, I'm not being a hard tail, a hard butt to you, but I'm going to tell you, if you're going to do this, these are the consequences. And how about if I helped you beat this system? Because at the end of the day, everyone is trying to go home. Everyone is trying to get back to their families, all of those things like that. So I'm going to be the big brother that's going to put his elbow on your back. I'm going to be the big brother that's going to make sure you do right. But also, if you do wrong, hey, man, call me and let me know you did wrong so I can show you that you did wrong. I can protect you when you did wrong, and then we can keep it moving. I can't beat you down. I am going to beat you down, but I'm going to pick you up also. And I think that's kind of like what's missing in the world today, too, is that discipline that is needed for younger people to understand that someone is not trying to hurt them or hate on you every time we say something to you. You know,
and that's what I tell people about, you know, whether it's parenting, whether it's leadership, a parent that won't discipline their children don't love them
at all.
So say for instance, if you seen your kids getting ready to run in the street and you know it's danger out there, you ain't gonna just sit back and be like, well, go ahead and run in the street. That's on you. No, you're gonna be like, get your ass away from that, you know, like you're going to stay on top of them to make sure that they're doing the right thing. So what they don't understand, so most of them not being used to discipline and not being used to correction, is they interpret that correction like you don't like them. But the correction is the protection. So if I wasn't correcting you and disciplining you,
then I don't care about you.
I'll let you crash out.
Every time. Every single time.
That's what the whole agape love is. The fact that I'm putting this covering and I'm giving you guidance at every step of the way. You know, now here's the thing. Everybody think that that's supposed to be something fluffy because we're being taught that. No. You know, you can see women talking to 2-year-old, 3-year-old little boys who ain't did nothing in this world. Oh, he's a king and okay. Well, if he raised up and he's the king and he's the prince, he ain't gonna never want to work a job that's beneath him.
At all.
So it's the social conditioning of these kids that got them thinking that they should be entitled to something before they do any work, before they done anything. Just my presence is a gift. So when they show up to the military and they're feeling like, well, I'm here, and we looking like that didn't make no sense to my generation.
Now
it's like, well, what have you? Now you think we can go to awards quarters and they can see people get awards. And they think they supposed to get one just because, well, I was here too. Well, you was here. No, but that's the guy that did the work.
What did you do when you was here? I mean, it's like, I used to be the assistant duty section leader on the Carter Hall. And if you was in my duty section, let's say you showed up late. Well, if you showed up late, you got the 1, 3, 5. You got the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th watch off the top. Off the top. And you got colors, right? So I would have guys who would ride together, and another guy would leave another guy at home, be like, hey, SK1, you know, old boy gonna be late. You know, I got that 2nd watch. Go ahead and give him my, you know what I'm saying? And I'd be like, look, you know the rules. Don't be late. If you're not late, you don't get 3 watches. I'm gonna still be your man, but you're gonna do these 3 watches also at the same time. That's called discipline.
Yes.
And that's also called me showing enough love to you that we could go another direction. The other direction could be you were late for do the section turnover. How about I just write you up? Now let the XO go sort you out, right?
Well, and you know what you were saying earlier about the first classes, right? So I used to always tell people, If the first class foot is in your ass, then chief foot ain't got to be in your
Ain't
ass.
got to be in there.
If chief foot is in your ass, then you ain't got the whole chief's mess trying to get in your ass. If the chief's mess is getting in your ass and they can correct you, you ain't got to never go see the XO. Because by the time you get to the CO, you might lose some money. Listen, lose the money. And at any day, I'd rather have a foot in my ass, somebody getting on top of me, than to have the CO take half my pay.
Now, it's like the same thing. I said the same thing when I was a chief. I would tell my first classes, I'm not here to make you a better SK1. I'm here to teach you how to become a chief. Because my job now, my role would change. If I got to be here to be your chief, then you're not prepared to be a chief. Also, I'm here to train this junior officer that's working, that we work for. Because this junior officer needs to understand that he's got to be able to trust the chief. So I got two roles here. That's when I became a chief. I understood, and I understood the roles as the roles changed. But as my role as a chief toward my first class, then was like, well, look, because I figured something out too. I figured out that chief that's on the ship, and we all know a chief that was on the ship that was upset and angry all the time. You know what I learned down there about that chief that was on the ship that was upset and angry, mad and everything else? You know what I learned about him?
He had a good home life.
No, he didn't realize he wasn't the first class anymore.
Okay.
Because the chief should not be mad. That chief should now be managing not the personal work that's happening. That chief should be managing that first class.
Bingo.
You see what I'm saying? Why would a chief be mad with his division? The chief should be looking at his first class like, well, I'm not doing something right with you. Because the first class should be the one that's putting his foot inside the divisions behind, not the chief. So when I figured out that as a chief, I definitely won't be mad ever again. This is how leadership moves. This same leadership and this structure that we're talking about, this is how you go from being a brother to a cousin to an uncle to a parent. So when you become a parent, the only way you should be mad, only way you can be arguing or anything with your children is if you came down to their level. Your children can never come up to your level. The same way if you a chief, senior chief, master chief, and you got a third class right here, the only way they can ever be on the same playing field, you have to come down. They can never come up. I learned that from Senior Chief Maxey, Carlene Maxey. So when she taught me that the only reason I should ever be mad at my division, she said, expect what you inspect. If you didn't inspect anything, don't expect anything. So I can't come down to a person's level. Oh, I better yet, I can't bring a person up to my level. So even when we're talking about the leadership and everything else, I have to train you on the level that you're at to try to elevate you. I can't talk above your head because you will never understand it if I'm talking above your head clearly. But if I speak it to you, go ahead, Donnie.
Oh, and I was saying some of them khakis too find themselves angry and overwhelmed when they allow them first classes and second classes to deliver problems to them without solutions. So you know how that first class would come up to you and be like, Chief, we got a problem. Chief, we got a problem. And it's like, well, you delivering the problem to me. How do you think you should fix it?
How you gonna fix it? Talk to me how you plan on fixing it. And then I will tell you if that's a good or bad idea.
Right. And it's the same thing with me as a leader. If I as the warrant, if I gotta go up to the XO or my department head and tell them that there's a problem, I already got recommendations. And I'm not going up there until I got some clear recommendations. I'm not just going up there saying, well, hey, Suppo, we got these problems, and here goes some problems. And then I'm expecting, because at that point, I'm employing my Suppo. I'm employing my senior. So when them first classes and second classes deliver them problems to them khakis for the khaki to resolve, they're not doing their deck plate leadership role at all. They're really just taking that and delivering it to you, saying, hey, you give me a solution. And it's like, did you even try to figure out how to resolve this? You know? And that's why I told him one of the most challenging ranks I've ever experienced in the military was first class. Because the junior sailors had this expectation that I had this threshold of power because I was an LPO, and well, my lead shit, and you the LPO, you can't get Chief and Devo to take care of that for me, and I need to go see and then the upper echelon also see the first class as a person with a threshold of power over the junior guys. So you're in the middle pulling these two ropes. Now, the crazy thing was, as soon as I made Chief, them same rooms that I would go in and have to do a brief or something and be like, hey, sir, this is what we planning on doing, and people will ask you 1,000 questions. Now I can walk in the room when I put that anchor on, and people just be like, okay, Chief.
Yeah, because you're now the expert.
Like,
you're now the expert.
Because now they look at your collar and be like, oh, well, he must know what he's talking about. He a Chief. So it was like that reason of doubt, and that threshold of power changed, quickly when you put them khakis on. But then you got to really realize
overnight. And
then I have to make sure that I'm empowering all my second classes and first classes, because that's my leadership. That's the extension. That's my arms. I always tell people my second class and my first class, they're my arms. My second classes, that's who get out there and get money for me, because most of the second classes got the best relationships. The relationships on the ship, when you talk about them BM2s, the LS2s, them second people talk about the E4 Mafia and the E3, that threshold of power. Most of them is with them E5s, man. Them E5s used to get stuff done for me, and I'm talking about with no issue.
Because I can send them out there to go hunt. They can go up and down, and they can make it happen. And
they can go hunt, man.
Yeah, and it's kind of like what you just said with that. I kind of looked at it because I remember, like I said, I was the first class at 2 separate commands, and I left the SEAL team and then went to the Carter Hall. So I was running hard when I got on the Carter Hall, and I was a senior first class on the Carter Hall. So everyone else on the Carter Hall, they were first class. They were like 9 or 10 years. I'm about 13 or 14. So I'm in front of them guys. And I came on board with the mentality that they didn't have. So when I was assigned as a departmental LPO, I didn't just stay in my division. I had to go talk with everyone. And at that point in time, as a first class, it's kind of like everyone will come to you with their problems, like you just said. But then you got to ask yourself, how can you fix them? What is your resolution? And then we'll come up with a resolution together. But then, even inside my own division, because there was another thing was I only had a chief for 1 year. So I was on the Carter Hall for 3 years, but I was not only just a departmental LPO, I was an acting LCPO. So I'm going to khaki call for 2 years straight because I don't have a khaki. So now I'm filling multiple roles. So I'm doing that role. I'm president of First Class Association. I'm on Force Protection Training Team, Decade, Duty Section Leader. I'm moving. And I mean, I'm getting it. And it was difficult, and I'm, lack of sleep and all of that stuff. But as I started doing it, something that I had when I had with the senior chief was, when she was there, I had to explain something to her because she was an aviation and we was a surface ship. So when I came on board, I'd been there for about a month, and I said, well, listen, today, I told everyone in my division, I said, from this point on, any supply-related questions, you come directly to me. If you have any personal questions, you can go to Senior Chief. But if it's supply-related, job-related, you come to me. And if it's something I can't fix, I would take it to her, and we'll figure it out from that point on. Because I felt like I was trying to move the needle. I was trying to get to them khakis, but I needed that division to trust me, to understand, hey, this SK1 has my best interests at heart. Yeah. I had to get them to understand. So when I went over and talked to the CSs, and at this time, I don't think they had first classes either. They just only had second class.
We only had second class. Yep.
I got to go deal with Kevin McShane. I got to go deal with these second classes over here and let them know I got your best interests at heart.
I think McShane made first.
When he made first, yeah. Yep. Because he made it before Strand.
Because he was our acting LCPO for a while too.
So, but you have to, and I figured out that I had to build a trust with whoever the leadership was, but they have to know that I have their best interests at heart, even though sometimes it might not feel like it or look like it. You just have to have it there. So I think a lot of times when you're talking to younger people, they don't know how to trust other people because it's a newer generation. Because the newer generation we're living in now is real time. So when I say real time, that's all on this social media, it's all this, it's all that. When we was coming into the game, it wasn't all like that. I had to be to trust this leadership to have my best interests at heart. That's how I saw it, but that's how I still see it.
Yeah, and you know that with the old school saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
That's right.
The minute they know you really got their back and like, oh man, you know, we starting to get stuff out the deal. We getting awards, we getting good evals, you know. Then they start to buy into it. You get that buy-in.
That's right. So you're gonna catch more bees with honey than you will with vinegar. I guarantee it. Yeah. Guarantee it.
The other question I had, I get obviously for both of you guys. Like I said, I was never blessed to make chief. Wasn't in long enough. What was that difference or the mentality shift when you put them khakis on? I know you guys just talked about like the power, but what is the mentality shift of like, or like how you guys were talking like, oh, that chief, that person's still acting like a first class. How do you teach somebody to turn that mentality off and be like, no, I am the chief now, or I have this power to be able to do X, Y, and Z?
Well, let me explain it to you. It's very easy. And this is what you learn if you went through chief initiation. Sort of, I mean, even if you went through indoctrination, but you went through chief initiation, you don't guess. Everything comes from you. You always know. And if as a chief, I don't know the answer, I know how to go get the answer. I'm gonna go. So that's why we always say lean on your mess, right? So if I come to you as a chief and I say, well, I guess this or I think this, you don't have no belief in me. When I say it to you, it didn't come from the CO. It didn't come from Suppo. It came from me. I'm putting it out to you like it came from me. So when I say it to you, hey, this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing it. I didn't guess that. Chief, what do you think about? Well, no, I don't think. I know. And if you ask me a question in which I don't know the answer to, I get right back to you. I'm gonna let you know I'm gonna get back to you. Meaning I gotta go reach out to another fellow khaki to get the answer. So I think that's the difference when and now if you were to make chief, we would tell you that's the difference between being a chief and an E7. That's the difference right there, because that chief, he know it's coming from him. He's direct. He didn't guesswork. So you can't sit here and say at 8 or 0800, chief said this, and something is different at 0830. Because as a chief, I got to be prepared sometimes to wear 4 different uniforms in one day. I got to be prepared to go to 4 or 5 different meetings in one day. And I got to know everything that I'm talking about. That kind of confidence right there, you doing that kind of job, is why when I go on that base and I see when they look at that ID code and say, welcome aboard, chief. I didn't get that as a first class. No matter what base I go to, Army base, Marine base, welcome aboard, chief. Air Force base, that's the level of being.
Hey, let me speak on that too real quick, JB. Hey, Donnie and JB, I mean this with the highest respects and regards as possible. Hey, Donnie, JB is an asshole. I just want you a whole asshole.
You see these 2 thumbs pointing at me? That's what it means.
Every time I be on the phone with this fool and he come up on base, man, he been out since 2013. This fool making sure, hey, shit, mate, how you doing today? I hope you're standing the proper watch. Be asking questions, everything. Be putting them on notice. Putting them on notice the second he pull up.
Be a hard target, man. Be a hard target. Don't be a soft target. You know.
You know, because and here's the thing. When you ride past, like say for instance, you go to Norfolk and you ride past an ECP or something like that, and you see people looking like soup sandwiches out there, you want to stop and be like, man, what the hell are y'all doing? You know, you kind of want to address, because people don't take stuff seriously until something bad happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now everybody want to be locked in. So somebody pull up to that pier and do something crazy. Now everybody want to be, nah, man. Always be prepared, man. Be prepared and be on guard. Be on top of your business.
That's
and
it.
I can tell you this, man. Me, maybe at about third class, man. I became a hardcore company man. And I can tell you, the more I got into reading instructions and really policies, programs, and procedures, and really learning stuff, people don't like you when you that way. They you know what they call us, Joe Navy. Oh, he Joe Navy. Just like he was saying when I got to the carrier, when they would throw these little social events and stuff like that, I didn't even like participating in it. I go in my office, man. I'm about to go down the storeroom and do counts. They be like, oh, they got karaoke night, or they got FSO, they got the man. Listen, I ain't here for the games. My whole thing, what people didn't realize, they used to post the pay chart outside of dispersing. I don't know, Chief, you probably remember that, right?
Yeah.
With your last four.
Last 4 digits.
I remember as a junior sailor, I'm from Detroit, man. I grew up, my family, we ain't never had money like that or nothing crazy. I looked at that pay chart.
You looking to see who got paid the most money. Who got paid the most?
And I looked at the khakis and the officers' pay, and I was like, man, people making that much money?
Oh.
And it was like, yeah. So if you get in the game and take it seriously, you could go all the way up here. And I even looked at the CO. I was like, the CO making that type of money on that pay chart? I said, that's crazy. That's, and then the fact that you're going to get a check for the rest of your life, I said, that's generational wealth. This is an opportunity I can't play with. So, the people around me who felt like, they wanted to go to the club on the weekends, man, I was in them books, man. I was like, who gonna play with this type of opportunity they paying for your education? You can literally change the whole trajectory of your whole family utilizing the military as a stepping stone. It's people that leave there, they own 4 or 5 homes, and these are people that started from nothing. I got African sailors from the Philippines, sailors from Nigeria, all these different places who literally then changed their whole family dynamic using the military. Who gonna play with an opportunity like that? You remember what Smokey Ice Cube told Smokey? Who played like that?
And the funny part, Donnie, is I did it the opposite way. I'm the one who played like that.
He the one who played like that.
I played like that. And the funny part of it was, this was the funniest part about it. The funniest part to me was everybody be like, man, you got so much potential. Man, you got so much. And I used to be like, man, I ain't taking this serious. This is really how I looked at the military. This is the only job I can't get fired from. All I got to do is be on time, pass a couple of tests,
uniform,
pass a couple of tests, be in the right uniform, and go to PT. Right? I didn't take this thing serious probably until my 9th or 10th year. Once I got to the 10-year mark, that's when I said, well, I done crossed the hump. I can't go back because I done went over. So now where I was playing around, okay, I fooled around, got an ESWAS pen because I've made E5 and the first class asked me to do it. Okay, I do it. I done went on the carrier. I got an air warfare pen, not because I really cared for it. It was just that someone else said, hey, man, let's just get our air warfare pen. I'm doing these things by accident. I was still the guy that was doing what you just said. I'm still going out, still hanging out, still partying. The problem is I was making success by accident. And I look back at it now and I say, what if I would have stayed focused? So I got a buddy of mine. He went to the Boost program in 94 when they offered it to me. I didn't go to it. He retired lieutenant commander, right? I had a chance to go to Camp David. I turned it down. So I'm the one who you said who played like that. I did. But what would have happened if I would have took it serious? And I mean, when I say played, I really played. But if I would have just took it serious to be motivated, like my man right now, buddy of mine, he's the highest ranking bosun mate master chief in the Navy. His name is John Poe. He got 34 years into. He retiring next year. Anyway, he's out on the Iwo Jima right now. He's what's her name? Felice Malo.
Yep.
That's her Master Chief. Anyway, he's been acting like a Master Chief since he was E1. This is all he wanted to do. This is it, period. And I'm saying, what if I would have came in motivated? What if I would have came in focused? So I did play, and by the time I took it serious, it was almost too late. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm now preaching to the younger people, like, look, man, don't wait on your opportunity. Take advantage of the opportunity. Get it early. So by the time I did start going to school, start focusing, and I mean, I did everything I wanted to do because I was able to retire at 21. But I'm saying is, what if I could have did it in 21, I could have did it in 14.
Right. And think about it. When you finally got serious, how easy was it for you to navigate?
It was so easy to move then that if I would have been serious at the 12, 11, 10 year, if I would have been serious, let's say at the 6-year mark. If I'm serious at the 6-year mark,
at the first re-enlistment,
I'm serious right now. By the time I get to the 14-year mark, I'm now probably should be putting on 8. Mm-hmm. I should be putting it on. But I did catch wind of it, of how serious and how easy it was, because it was an easy road. It really is an easy road, not a tough road. I kind of felt like, and I mean, that's why I said when I look at the younger people, I can't relate to them because I was part of the first wave of people that came in this Navy just like that. I mean, I come in 92. So I come in here and I'm already like, look, I'm just here for 4 years. But the truth of the fact is, I really just didn't want to go back to Birmingham. That was it. I just didn't want to work at a steel plant. I don't want to drive an 18-wheeler. I don't want to do labor with my hands. But then when I realized something, man, I'm a storekeeper. Let me learn how to be a full storekeeper. Let me go to college and learn how to, and I got my degree in logistics. Let me learn everything I can learn. If I'd had that focus, kind of like how you saying, Donnie, shoot, ain't no telling what I could have been. But I will say the best thing I can say about it, though, I won't take it away from me because I had fun along the way. I just wish that I would have cut the fun out earlier. That's what I wish. I wish if I got serious at 22 years old versus getting serious at 27. That's what I wish. Because I know guys that was like you, came in, did 4 years, got a bachelor's degree, got out, opened business, bought homes, took advantages of VA loans. They came in here on their serious hop. And most of the people who I found out that was very serious like that, they didn't join the military until they was 23 or 24.
I joined at 21.
Okay, so that means you already had, so that makes a difference though. So if you joined at 21, you had nothing else to go to.
I had no plan B. I tell people that I did not have you know how people be like, I can go work for my uncle, I could go do this. I didn't have no plan B. So it was like, I got to make this work. Because
now I'm looking at it like I came in at 17. So I came in at 17. So I came in at the playing age. If you coming in at 21, 22, 23, you failed outside. Because if it was going to work out there, you wouldn't have came in here. This got to work. You've already did your clubbing. You already did your partying. You already did the odd jobs that you're going to do out there. This is going to be it. This has to be your success hit. So when and most of the people that I see that are extremely successful in the military early, they came in at a later age. That part of it, because the discipline is already there.
And I can completely agree with you because, you know, like you say, getting all that stuff out your system. Being in Detroit, man, I was in them streets, and you know, I got my taste of everything that I wanted to, you know, to experience. I won't even speak on everything, but
I understand.
I understand. You know, but I can tell you, you know, and that's where I got a lot of my hustle from. When my personality, how I operate, how I move, what a lot of people don't realize unless you're from Detroit. All of them isms that I operate with is rooted in, you know, how I grew up.
And I'm kind of like that. And I mean, the same way being from Birmingham, because I tell this to people all the time. If you're from Detroit, I say you're from Alabama. If you're from Chicago, I say you're from Mississippi and Alabama. because
you
majority
got
of the people,
family down there.
that's what I'm about to say. Majority of those people up there, you either have somebody leave from down south and come up there. So for me being from Birmingham and Detroit is kind of like the same place. The hustle is the same way. So it's about how can you not hustle or manipulate the system, but how can you hustle and manipulate the system? Whether that's
and here's
meaning
the thing.
how you gonna play this game?
With the military, there was no required for. Here's the thing: they lay out all the rules to the game.
They even give you the roadmap. They give you the roadmap.
The military literally give you instruction for how they want your underwear folded, man. They got an instruction for. There's policies, programs, and procedures for everything we do.
How to fold
all you got to do.
How to do everything. So that's that structure.
How you supposed to cross that quarter deck? It's already some
matter of fact,
everything, man.
As a matter of fact, the military even tell you, Donnie, how to take your first step. It tell you how to step off on the left foot. It tells you.
Let's go.
I mean, let's go. I'm not like.
So now, no, Honeyman. When you think about it, right? They give you a roadmap for success, and that's what I say with the junior guys. It's somewhere along the way that you kind of start fleeting back to your own devices. Because when people first go to MEPS and you didn't let somebody look in your butt and you didn't let somebody make you duck walk and stick you with 20, 30 needles, who does all of that just to come out here and fail? Who does all that just to come out here and act a fool? I said, who go through all of that? You taking the ASVAB exam. You're doing all of this stuff to get in that door just to come in here and be a failure? Like, that logically doesn't make sense. Or come out there and be lazy. So it's like somewhere along the way, they have to revert back to their own devices.
Yeah.
Because boot camp is kind of set to get that old program up out you and say, well, this is the new program, you think. And that's why I kind of loved how strict Norfolk was. Norfolk, somebody checking your gig line from across the mess decks. Like, hey, mate. When I first got on that Truman on that aircraft carrier.
Wait a minute, Donnie. What year you get out? You just get out last year, right?
Yeah, 2025.
Okay, so you got out down in Kings Bay.
Yep.
Okay, well, up in Norfolk, they wearing earrings across the quarter deck. They wearing earrings coming through the front gate. They're wearing ponytails. They got a beard just as thick as mine. Oh, yeah. It's like, they got dreadlocks. They got all kinds of things right now. So too much of
they done wrote most of this stuff off into policy at this point. So remember when we came in.
Yeah, that military bearing that you're talking about that we had, that portion of it is gone. And that military bearing was actually part of your discipline, right? Yeah. That was actually part of your discipline. Something you just mentioned, a gig line. These younger people today don't have that. When you're seeing girls wearing ponytails, like I said, I work for the Coast Guard now. So I still see it over there with them. The Coast Guard just started a PT program in 2026. Let me say that part again. They just started doing PT 3 times a week. Just started it. When I first joined the Navy in 92, my command was the only command that did that 3 times a week. That was because I was with the Seabees. The Seabees required you to run. That's how
Truman was.
Yeah, the
Truman, everybody was in that hangar bay.
So you had to get it.
1, 2, 3, 1. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 2.
That's what I'm saying. So your discipline is different because it's a different generation. So it's kind of like part of what made me get out was when we was talking, when it made me get out the military, when I started seeing about, okay, we got deck plate leadership, and then you have what they call intrusive leadership. Well, okay, my intrusive leadership also might instill discipline. So if I got a first class that want to give a person EMI because that person has been late 3 times, or this person, I need them to take the trash out, I need them to do this here. I don't need this 3rd class or this seaman to be on the same playing field as a first class. And I actually saw this on the Carter Hall. My very first day when I walked on board, I didn't know that the guy was a first class, but he told a junior sailor, hey, it's 11 o'clock. I need you guys to get on the next Liberty bus because your Liberty expires at 11:30. Well, the younger sailor said, I get to stay till midnight. My Liberty expires when yours expires. I just got my ESWAS pen. So right then and there, I got a 3rd class that's talking to a first class on his same level. And the command couldn't see that. So, okay, Here I am in first class. I don't know these people yet. I'll know who they are next week. So when I saw that third class for the first chance I got, I put boot to butt. I'm not him. I'm an older first class though. So that first class did not know how to do the discipline in which I did. So when I put boot to butt, I even told him, now go get your first class and bring them back here with me. I want you and your first class back here. I want to discipline you in front of your first class so you know that and you can spread the word that I'm going to do this to you. So now you spread the word to everyone else around the ship. Man, be careful about SK1 Brown, man. Hey, SK1 Brown don't play. He's a go-getter around that ship because everybody knew it. Now, like I said, I didn't want to be like that. I just had to be like that because there was no one else being like that. So when you start looking at the disciplines of the younger people today, we have went away from the stricter disciplinary role to being your buddy, good friends with you. So when I'm being that with you, how can I now discipline you and I'm your friend? Hell, how do I have a guy that's 24 years old and he just made first class and his roommate is a third class and they still in the same chain of command? They're not going to respect each other like that because they didn't know how to put business along with the work. You know what I'm saying? At work, I'm the first class. At home, we could be homies. You just got to treat me like a first class at work. And then sometimes I'm going to have to talk to you like I'm your first class and you the third class. We have to understand that. That's this business. It's a tough business we're in today. Very tough. And the same toughness is what's spilling out into the streets today. That's what's spilling out into our kids.
Yeah, that's one thing I had to learn the hardest, I think, because, I was a lot like you, JB. I'd rather have fun than put in the work. But it was on the Bush. That was the first time where I had got chewed out one good time, and it was like, yeah, you can't be friends with these people. And matter of fact, it was Master Chief Ayala. He's the one that chewed me out, and he was like, yeah, you can't be friends with these people. Like they can't think that you guys are on the same playing field. So when I did that switch up, and I mean, it could have been fucked up. It is what it is. Them people don't talk to me to this day now. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't that bad of a thing. But when I started like, hey, you're gonna go do this. Oh, but man, why you? Because I told you to do it. You the seaman. You the third class, right? Because I didn't make first until the end of my time on the Bush. But that shift was when it was like, oh damn, like we can't be friends with him, and that was my mindset going in at first. It's like I can be friends and do this, but I couldn't. I couldn't. Me personally, I could not separate business and personal. So I had to be all business.
So now here's my question, like, because Beekeeper, I was the first class when we was on the Carter Hall.
Mm-hmm.
One way that I was able to break the wall down, Donnie, because like I keep saying, Donnie, I was able to do it with ease. I didn't even change. So when I say I didn't change, well, we went on the basketball court. We on the basketball court playing basketball. The younger guys want me to play basketball because I'm still hooping. I'm still hooping.
Well, I know we were trying to bust your ass. That wasn't nothing about being friends. We trying to bust your ass.
How did that work out?
It worked out well.
I can't name not one of you guys who got the best of me. But anyway, so
you know what? We ain't even gonna get into it right now. We ain't even gotta get into it right now.
So we still hooping, but guys are still calling me SK1, and I'm not telling them not to call me SK1 at the time.
Yeah.
So I still wanted that respect, but I still wanted you to understand that I'm a regular person also. I want you to understand that I understand what you're going through. Even if you don't think that I know what you're going through. I'm not too far removed from you guys, but you should look at me, and this is how I actually know it was effective. Because I pretty much still keep in touch with all of the CSs that Honeyman came up with.
Yep.
So I don't care if it's Houchins. I don't even care if it's down to just Taylor, down in North Carolina.
Yep.
I still keep in touch with all of the guys who you came up in the game with. So, and that means that them guys respected me enough. And that means that these younger sailors, because I still keep in touch with a lot of my younger sailors, They respected me enough to understand now what I was trying to put into their heads then, that I didn't have to cross a line to violate them. I just needed them to understand that I had your best interest at heart. And I think that's the hardest thing for most people to understand, is that, make your own decision. But I'm going to have your best interest. And whatever you want to do, I'm going to support it.
Yeah.
Hey,
real quick, Donnie, I do want to say something though. Hey, we used to hit JB with one of these, like, clear it out. We got this. He can't guard us. That's what we used to hit him with. On God, Donnie.
Here's the thing though, Donnie.
Clear it out.
I'm about 15 years older than them, and they still couldn't take me. That's the worst part about it. They still couldn't take me. And while he's sitting there saying they would do this here, I get the ball and do the same thing. Y'all go the other way. But not only could they not take me, they couldn't stop me. Go ahead, Donnie.
No, I ain't never been good at basketball. I'm horrible at basketball.
I'm just fucking with him. He was nice like that. He was nice.
Look, I can stand under the hole for you like Shaq. That's about as much as I could do, boy.
I was bringing it to him, Daddy. I wouldn't play it.
Hey, I only know how to dribble with one hand.
Hey, I'm sitting there right now with a torn meniscus in my left knee because of basketball.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, I've seen more people get hurt during basketball than football.
Donnie, listen, I played football too, but I tore my meniscus playing basketball by myself 3 months ago.
Yeah, man.
I just retired 3 months ago. I'm official now.
Yeah. Man, these knees ain't got nothing going on now. And right. You know what? That's some of the best cardio too is basketball, getting on that basketball court.
It is.
If you want to knock that weight down, but
what else is good? Hey, Donnie, you know what else is good exercise?
What's that?
Having a park in the parking lot about 2 miles away, walk down a pier your ship bird all the way out, and you got to walk all the way across this dang on ship 3 or 4 times a day. That'll help you lose weight also.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think every person knows walking you do. You do so much walking when you're on the ship.
On that aircraft carrier. On that aircraft carrier, I used to get 20,000 steps a day on that Fitbit. The minute I got off that aircraft carrier, I could see my steps would be 2,000-3,000. And I was like, man, on the carrier, I was getting 20K a day just walking the ship.
Yeah, because you fool around and walk them. You walk the hangar bays. Hangar bay 1, 1, 2, and 3. You get
and you up and down them ladder wells.
That's right.
And some of them steps is from me just doing my hands like this, talking to people. Because by the time I get in that wardrobe or that Chiefs mask, I'm in there arguing with somebody about equipment or money or something. Look, every day I show up, it's going down. And I think, it just got to the point where people start to think you angry. But it's like, every day it was just like some problems. And, I probably took the job too seriously. If anything, like you say, you had a good time. Right. I think I would have had a better time if I learned not to take myself so seriously and take the job so seriously.
So then let me
ask you go ahead.
What made you get out? If you got out at 25, why you didn't go 30?
The culture of the military, just like you said, you start seeing the military bearing and you start seeing the entitled youngsters coming in, just feeling like, you owe them something and they not doing the work for it. And they're complaining every 5 minutes. They're crying. And I can tell you, people would think that you talking about like the females, the male sailors, man. Like here's where the dynamic shift with me. The female sailors was tougher than the male sailors. Yep. A lot of these guys were just crybabies, man. They did this. And, I'm telling you, remember Thompson and them, right? Thompson,
UMass. Yep.
Yeah. They're going to straighten these guys out. And these guys is like crybaby. And I'm like, what the hell happened? We in the military, and none of these people really act militant. These guys don't have a mentality where they supposed to be in no military, man. Like, it's people, here's the thing. There's a mentality. So if I'm laying there with my leg blew off, I got to depend on you. I got to depend on you to have a certain type of mentality to save my life if something happened. If something seriously happened, right? Just like right now, right? We got some real square business going on. And when I look around me, do I trust the people around me? These people who's dancing and joking and clowning and they won't get qualified and, when they qualifying people, they gun decking it, so they don't really know what they supposed to know. And then you're navigating around with these people, and these the people I'm supposed to trust my life with. Nah, get somebody else to do it. I promise you. Because when something hit the fan, if you got me in here with all of these clowns, I don't feel safe. I don't feel like we can handle business. Even though, yeah, do we got some people on the ship that can jump in and get engaged? Yeah, the senior guys like you, some of the Chiefs, the khakis, who old school and know. But I'm talking about the majority of the crew is the youngsters.
That's right.
The majority of the crew is not us old heads who really believe in, striking out and making sure stuff is getting done. And no, it's a mentality that's out there now about beating the system. So becoming better gun deckers and becoming better at hiding stuff and becoming better at, and when you go on these carriers, just like you talked about the uniform, I'm talking about soup sandwich. And guess what? The khakis be standing there right with them. So you talking about,
that right
here's the problem with me, right? I can see a sailor that's jacked up. Here I am, CW04, I go out there, I see sailors that's jacked up. The first thing I look for is the khakis. Now, here's what's strange. When you muster in the morning, you post to muster for instruction and inspection.
Yep.
Right or wrong?
That's
so
correct.
How did this guy make it from quarters unless them khakis in first classes ain't even looked at these guys?
Now,
so it's like everybody just like, you remember that movie? I think it was called Lord of the Flies or something like that, where the kids took over the island. No adults there.
No adults yet.
That's what when I was going aircraft to aircraft, just visiting these ships. That's what the fleet seemed like. Seemed like the junior, because these COs now, when you talk to captains, and captains like, well, let's make sure we're keeping these guys happy because I don't want to get fired.
Right. That's wrong.
So when think about it. Hey, when you check in now as a khaki, some of them will tell you, don't do nothing that'll get me fired. Don't do nothing that'll get me fired when you're talking to different people out there now.
So we had a first class when I was a first class. I was on board the Carter Hall. And I don't know if Honeyman going to figure out who he is.
I'm sure I will.
But he ended up putting on khakis. He ended up putting on Chief when I made Chief. But he ended up losing Chief. So I don't know if Honeyman know who it is.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
The guy, I first saw him, I said, he had one of his sleeves, open. Both of his sleeves open. One of his pants legs pulled up on his coveralls, Newport in his ear. And I'm looking at him. First class now. First class. And when I found out that he's supposed to be the top engineer on the ship, and I said to him one day, I said, I got an EP and you got an EP. I said, but EPs are not equal. I said, I can't believe they have you and I in the same category. Look at you. You want to know why your engineers don't respect you. You the one walking around looking like a third class. So when you see it based off of what you just said, I've always respected the military baron. The reason why I had to respect everything about the rules were I was always trying to break the rules. So in order to break the rules, you have to know all the rules, how to win the game. So when I was seeing that, that was also part of what I saw getting out too. I saw the road that they was going down, but then as you see in the road as you're going down it, you still start asking yourself questions like, how do you end up having ships colliding? How do you end up having things like this happening? Because their discipline is a lackluster. So if you don't have the discipline before you come in, and I'm not giving you the discipline once you get in, but I'm expecting you to have the performance of the older people, then you're going to lose your direction and your way. So when I asked you why you got out, part of the reason you got out is part of the reason I got out. Because I saw the writing on the wall, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm not having fun with this. And not only am I not having fun with it anymore, it's more serious now. Because like you just said, I want to go home. I got a wife and kids. I'm not out here for play. I'm not out here for the same reasons that you're out here for. I'm trying to have residual income. But you're out here for play. and you're not out here even learning the basic things to get us to survive throughout the night.
That's it.
So now, what am I out here putting my life on the line for someone that's out here that's upset that they cell phone bill didn't get paid, or they didn't pay, somebody didn't pay their cell phone bill. So now I can't even get you to perform. This is what I'm looking at it like. So even to the discipline of sailors carrying phones on the ship, sailors recording everything, right? What's the use of having words like OPSEC if they can still release all the information? There's no end results to.
Hey, OPSEC is gone. I can tell you this. Listen, man. Hey, and we got to get ready to cut this, but I can tell you this. OPSEC is gone. Everything that the ships be doing play by play, we know everything that's happening step by step, man.
But that's the point. I'm saying is
OPSEC is gone.
So if it's that, then how do you expect to have any form of discipline when the OPSEC is gone from the top? The OPSEC isn't gone from the bottom. They only can do what they see the top do. Right?
Well, and here's what they prioritize. They put, and morale has always been an important thing to keep the crew, but morale can't come at the expense of the mission. Morale can't come
That's right.
at the expense of the mission. And what they start doing is prioritizing morale of how these guys feel and whether or not they're having a great time on the ship, and let them get Wi-Fi. And morale is now prioritized over the mission. So now when these guys go to inspect these ships, talk to any of these people on these inspection teams, right? And they got to go back to that same ship 5, 6, 7 times. Hey, find out if I'm lying. Find out these inspection teams, just like you said, some of these departments, they have to re-inspect over and over and over again. And they still, and guess what? Here's the thing about inspections. You have the inspection list years out. You just think about it. Before you ever go do any inspection, where we do SMI, SMC, you got the root, you got the answers and the questions to the test, man.
Right in front of you.
Right in front of you, and you still failing horribly. You know why? Because the fleet ain't what the fleet supposed to be doing. The fleet ain't
give a fuck no more. Yeah.
So now, hold on, BK, before we get off the phone.
Go ahead, JB.
So Dunny, on my desk, no matter where I was at, was a copy of the SMC checklist.
Let's go.
And the SURSUP. So we won't operate outside of the SMC checklist and the SURSUP. And I got the P45, in which is sitting on top of that. So all of your guidances that I would need for a supply personnel from S1 personnel, SMC checklist, SURSUP, P45. You guys should have your P4. What you guys had, the P46?
P46, yeah.
Yeah, 46
had the P47. Yeah.
They call it Food Service Bible.
That's your Bible. That's your Bible.
Yeah.
We got the 485. You got the 86, the 80, and the SH got the 87. So 87, I'm trying to say, I'm saying is you have the playbook, and you got the ship's rules, you got the CO's rules. You got all these rules here. You got your plan of the day. Everything is laid out, and I'm trying to figure out if we put morale over the mission. And I don't want to have bad morale, but I promise you, if you go by the mission first, it will drive your morale.
Yes.
Now, I do know this because I came in 92. When COs started wanting to fly that ESWAS pen or that pennant, when they started wanting everybody to get ESWAS qualified on board that ship, that was part of the problem. When I got on board the Carter Hall and I asked every first class, I said, who's the number one EP on this ship? They said NC1. I'm not going to repeat his last name, but NC1. I walked outside and I looked at the anchor and it was Hayes Gray. I walked back on board and said, how's an NC1 your number one EP and we don't have 100% retention? And Cass looked at me like I said something wrong. His primary job, the NC's job on the ship, is only one job, retention. So if you don't have retention, How is he your number one sailor? So I used to ask these kind of questions that the average person did not know to ask. So now when you start looking at what's out there, there's no more people asking these kind of questions. There's no more people because now the person who might ask the question is the person that can get in trouble. Because, Donnie, I don't want to see that you got fired. I don't want to see that the CEO got fired. I mean, they'll fire a CEO in a heartbeat for no apparent reason.
Oh, yeah.
And all they're going to say is a loss of confidence. That loss of confidence don't mean he did anything on the mission wrong.
Nah,
that just means that all they did was a command.
That's a dangerous game because anything can fall under loss of confidence.
All they had to do a command climate survey, and they saw enough percentage of the command climate survey was negative. They'd have lost confidence in that CO.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all it is.
Yeah, it's a tough job.
Tough sport. And that's why it is a sport for the young. That's why I'm not playing it no more. All right, gentlemen.
Go ahead and call it, Donnie. Hit the outro on him one time. What we got to do here?
Hey, man, let's go ahead and cut it out, baby.